So I'm going to talk about Paddy Pimblett's interview the other day with the Schmo, where he said he's going to come back even stronger, even better than ever, beat El Cucuy in the first round and show all ye bums how tough he is, because no one cut him any slack when he had his horrendous leg injury. We're going to get into that, and I'm also going to touch on the Dillon Danis KSI hypocrisy from the MMA media and from the MMA commentators in the aftermath of that fiasco on the weekend. It's an extremely interesting one, and it really does highlight exactly what this channel is about, and that is telling the truth, showing hypocrisy, and showing how blatant these dudes are and how happy they are to tell lies. Before I get into these two stories, if you can, maybe like the video, share the video. I know it's annoying when I keep on asking this stuff over and over again, and when I saw people throughout the years doing these little call outs at the beginning of videos, I used to think, oh my god man, just get to the story, will you? When people don't like the video and they don't share the video, it dies a death. It just lands there and nothing happens. So we have to work overtime to try get someone to see the video and try get the channel to grow. It is what it is. I'd really appreciate it. Alright, let's jump into the story here. You gang of gobshites, Paddy Pimblett lashes out at fans for unhinged complaints about Tony Ferguson matchup. What in the name of God are you talking about? Now I'm going to play a little bit of it itself, and we'll just have a quick little gander.
Tony Ferguson, a guy who's fought all the who's who. He's a legend in the sport, and obviously that's what you're trying to be for yourself.
Yeah, of course. I've seen a lot of people talking shit about the fight, know what I mean? It's just quite annoying, like, because a couple of weeks ago, before this fight got announced, I was the worst lightweight in the UFC, you know what I mean? I was shit, you know what I mean? I was the worst on the division. And then as soon as me versus Tony Ferguson gets called, it's like, oh, they're feeding Tony to the wolves. How can the worst in the division be a wolf? You know what I mean? Use your own logic, you gang of gobshites.
I'd like to address what he said there, just in terms of, I'd love to know who said he was the worst in the division. I don't remember. He's talking about podcasters, so you have to imagine he's talking about Chael Sonnen, Michael Bisping, Anthony Smith, these type of guys. I don't know who he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about the alternative guys like MMA Guru and Jesse on Fire. Maybe he's talking about them. Maybe he's taking a little pot shot at them. And I think it's fair to say that if we go back to when the fight was announced with Paddy Pimblett and Tony Ferguson, it was a good 50-50 split in terms of, I was saying, okay, this is ridiculous. You're giving Paddy Pimblett an easy fight here for his comeback fight. And I think it was warranted and just to say that. That doesn't take away anything from Tony Ferguson and what he has done in the past, going on a 12-win streak, any of that. Doesn't take anything away of that. What we're looking at is that, by the book, Paddy Pimblett has won 6 fights, some shit like that, and Tony Ferguson has lost his last 6 fights. So it goes without saying that Paddy Pimblett is surely the favourite going into this fight. Now, on the 50-50 split, there were so many people that said this is an easy fight. Chael Sonnen said it was the easiest fight Tony Ferguson could have, and that he's going to go in there and blitz him. I think that that's quite possible as well. It's quite possible. But if we're talking about someone like Paddy Pimblett, whose skill level is not where it should be in terms of the hype that surrounds him, and for where he wants to go, that's fine. Put that aside for a second. If we look at his tenacity, he's willing to bang, he's willing to throw, he's a strong kid. Surely damage will be done against Tony Ferguson in that first round. I can't imagine that it won't. So in my perspective, not that you're throwing Tony to the wolves. No one's saying that you're a wolf, man. There's no one saying that. What they're saying is, just doesn't make sense. But everybody with eyes on the front of their head know that Paddy Pimblett was given this fight because UFC think it's an easy route to get him back in the winning streak and get one of their golden boys back up and running again. That's all that everybody said. So again, we're all gobshites.
You know what I mean? Everyone's trying to say that he's like, Tony's getting fed to the wolves, but as I say, the other week I was the worst lightweight in the division. So stop contradicting yourselves and sort your facts out, you gang of bums.
He's aggressive enough towards people that were against this fight and against his last performance against Jared Gordon. You can tell that he's holding a lot of resentment there. He does talk a little bit about depression and mental health, and I do feel for someone that is in a position, especially as he alludes to here, that he had his operation and he had to sit at home inside his own mind. And when you watch content coming out of your community, there was a lot of anger aimed towards him, but justly so, because the arrogance got to a level that was just incomprehensible. You know, everybody that watched that last fight knew that he didn't win the fight. But if he had come out and said, listen, my ankle went, not the greatest fight, I apologise, I'm going to come back stronger, people would definitely have been on his side then. I think the fact that he came out, sneered and laughed at people who thought that he lost the fight, that's what turned so many people off.
Yeah, man.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
It's all about you.
It's funny, lad, everyone's saying I'm fat and that, you know what I mean? Wait, have you been in our gym? Have you been in here watching me train? all you helmets on podcasts and fucking sitting in front of your cameras talking shite. Go and suck ass. Gang of bums.
So there you have it. You're a bunch of bums, bunch of helmets, sitting in front of cameras, talking on podcasts. So Paddy Pimblett's angry, and we'll see what happens come this Tony Ferguson fight. All predictions and all estimations are saying that he's going to win the fight. We'll see what happens when it comes to fight night against Tony Ferguson. If I'm making a prediction now, I have to say that I see Paddy Pimblett winning the fight. It will be extremely torturous if he keeps this energy and maybe exponentially grows it and goes into that fight with that arrogance, then wins the fight and then starts talking shit on the mic. I think he's only going to lose more and more fans off the back of that. And we don't expect Paddy Pimblett to go in there, win this fight and have a down to earth reaction and just be, listen, time to get on to the next one, let's keep building. That ain't going to happen. So I think that cringe and hype train is just going to continue with Paddy Pimblett. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. Now, in terms of the Dillon Danis KSI story, we know what happened with that fiasco on the weekend. I watched that fiasco. I paid for that fiasco. And I thought I was done with it on Sunday. I thought that, okay, I don't really want to talk and I don't want to watch this trash anymore. And then I started consuming a little bit of the MMA content and podcasts, and I realized that, okay, there's a lot of people talking about it. Obviously, you know, it's in the headlines, it gets views, it is what it is. Everybody does what they got to do. But it was their opinions that freaked me out completely, because first of all, I watched the Weighing In podcast, Josh Thompson, John McCarthy, and they spoke at length about how the KSI Tommy Fury fight went down. I'll give you the Cliff's Notes. Basically, Tommy Fury is a good boxer. He couldn't handle the speed. He couldn't handle the agility, and he couldn't handle the excellent game plan that KSI put in place in terms of that karate, Michael Venom Page style of bouncing in and out that he was doing. And I was like, what? I don't believe it. And that was John McCarthy cracking out these lines, and I was like, okay, let's see what Josh has to say about this. And then he followed it up with this.
He goes, why is Tommy Fury not boxing like he did against Jake Paul?
Different.
And I said, what in the fuck fight are you watching? He can't box him like that. He'll get fucking just pieced up. Like, that's when you know you're watching, like, the person doing the commentary fucking doesn't know what they're talking about.
I'm going to pause it there. The guys on the commentary definitely sounded like they had no idea what they were talking about. But in fairness, who does know what they're talking about when it came to this shit show? Josh Thompson is saying that Tommy Fury couldn't box against the style of KSI because he would get pieced up. I didn't see anything like that. As I said in the other video, I saw a lot of star jumping. I saw a lot of lunging into clinches and then a couple of wild right hands every now and then. I didn't think that Tommy was going to get pieced up.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, like, you can't just sit there and try to pot shot someone who's faster than you, who's more athletic than you, and fucking can get into the clinch anytime he wants because he just slipped off the jab and then grabbed you.
More athletic, faster than you, slipping off the jab into a clinch. He made it sound so technical, like it was some strategic plan that KSI put in place and executed beautifully. Dude, he was freaked out of his head and he was just diving in and grabbing so he didn't get hit. That's basically it. So that was the Josh Thompson, John McCarthy podcast. If we jump over here, I watched a little bit of the man himself, Israel. What did he think of KSI?
It's like I said, Taekwondo, because even Michael Venom Page uses his stance as well. And yeah, the way he's doing it, it's effective right now with him. Yep, he's gun reacting when he bridges, and he's gonna catch him now. Boom. I can read this now. Oh, that was good timing though. Like the way he offbeat that. Oh, nice. KSI fucking got really good. KSI might have taken him, man. I'm not a judge. Wasn't scoring to fucking thing, but still. Yeah, so with the point deduction as well, I think he won this.
How many judges were there?
Who knows, man? I wasn't watching the fight to score. I just saw a lot of right hands landing. I thought KSI, like in the fight, just looking at it as a fight, I thought KSI won.
Offbeat, great timing, great Taekwondo style of fighting. And I was just like, wow, what is going on here? What am I not seeing? So all this juxtaposed to the Dillon Danis and Logan Paul fight. I saw Ariel last night talking about how KSI did absolutely brilliantly in terms of the strategy, especially deserving credit because he was fighting a professional boxer and he's a YouTuber. So by this train of thought, all of a sudden KSI is receiving massive praise for executing this plan against a professional boxer, and that he was somewhat Taekwondo, Michael Venom Page, slipping jabs into clinches and really great at what he did on the night. And all three of these podcasts, Adesanya, Ariel Helwani, the Weighing In podcast, all three of them then proceeded to shit all over Dillon Danis and call him an embarrassment. And there was no leeway given to him like it was given to KSI in terms of he's a jiu-jitsu practitioner who never boxed. And we could tell that he never boxed because it was absolutely appalling. You know, let's be consistent here. We can't on one hand say that KSI is a YouTuber who has never boxed a professional before.
We know who KSI is. He's a guy who was, you know, not doing this 2-3 years ago, and he's a rapper, and like, I can't hold him to the same standard.
And then on the other hand say Dillon Danis is an absolute disgrace.
But you can't say after the fact, you can't say leading up to it, I am boxing and I'll knock this guy out, I'll knock that guy. And then you lose and say, well, I'm just a jiu-jitsu guy with no team, no coach, no training. Come on. I hate when we do this. Nate did this too.
Nate did this.
Yes.
There was literally no slack given. And what I've seen from the MMA media, the shill media, is that they all are going in hard on Dillon Danis. A disgusting display, a disgraceful attempt at boxing. And you flip the coin and it's KSI is a YouTuber and he should be so proud because some of them are even saying that he won the fight against a professional boxer in Tommy Fury. That's why I'm talking about this again, because it's the MMA community that are so adamantly after Dillon Danis. It's beyond me. It's very interesting. I'd like to know your thoughts down below in terms of who do you think had a better performance? Dillon Danis, who isn't a boxer, who doesn't even train boxing apparently, to go in there and not get knocked out, just made himself look like a bit of a fool, or KSI, who we're being led to believe is boxing for the last 3 or 4 years, who's physically fitter, bigger, faster, everything than Tommy Fury, and all he did was illegally clinch for 6 rounds and then cry and whinge about it. Why not the same consistency? Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know who you think is the better fighter. Let me know what you think of all this, and remember, share the video if you can. Cheers.